through 4 weeks, the NFC West is absolutely loaded. The best teams in the NFC could be argued that maybe they are right in this division, or this is the best division overall from a well-rounded standpoint. But that brings the question, with 3-1 teams, which one is the best? And Sammy, I'm going to go first here, and I'm going to go with my boy, just like the last Jets quarterback that came into Seattle. This man hasn't written back either. Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks right now are playing substantially well. And I'm going to tell you why. This team is absolutely balling out, all right? And I love Sam Darnold. Kenneth Walker has been healthy. You see Jackson Smith-Njigba is out there playing just out of his mind. Torrey Horton, what a draft pick. We saw him, thought he was going to come out in the 2024 draft, ended up going back to Colorado State, came out in the 2025 draft, and he has had some big plays for this Seattle team. I like all three phases of the game right now in Seattle. I think that they are a good team. They're plus 44. They have the best point differential to any other team in this division at 44. Won 3 straight games. Obviously, they lost week 1. I think the fraud of these 3-1 teams is San Francisco. San Francisco is the fraudulent team in these 3-1 teams, because as much as I like to see Mac Jones thrive, Mac Jones is not going to take this team anywhere. And Brock Purdy came off that toe injury against Jacksonville in a game they lost and did not look good. The ball was sailing on him. It didn't look like he was stepping into throws. He was not accurate. He didn't look as mobile as he usually is. They got after him, Jacksonville did in that game. And so I just don't see the San Francisco team being able to sustain with all these injuries already piling up. But I will say they have an absolute baller in Ricky Pearsall. I love watching that man run routes. But the Seattle Seahawks, to me, are the true 3-1 team in this division. And I know some people may have some arguments like, who have they faced? 2 division games. They lost to the 49ers in week 1. I understand. It was 17-13. The Detroit Lions got absolutely dismantled by the Packers in week 1, and now look at them, all right? So you can be a good team and not be dominant in week 1. It's allowed. But their other 3 opponents, also not that great. You saw them at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, obviously, 3-1, leading the AFC North. We just talked about that on a previous episode. The New Orleans Saints, we've talked at length about the problems of the New Orleans Saints, and the Arizona Cardinals, who are 2-2 in this division in last, but they are still a very good team, especially when Kyler Murray is playing at the level he's playing at. They'll have a really big test against the Bucs, who just took the Eagles and had a chance to win that game late before Baker Mayfield threw just a bad interception. So I still like what I'm seeing from Seattle. But I have a feeling that you probably aren't going to agree with me on this, and I know Matt sure wouldn't. So
I do disagree with you. I do think that Seattle, while they have a pretty stout defense, because Mike Macdonald is, in my opinion, a top 10 coach in the league. He's been fantastic. I think it's time to admit it. Sam Darnold's career has resurrected, and it's not just because of Kevin O'Connell. I think he overall has brought his confidence back. He was behind Kyle Shanahan. He then went to Kevin O'Connell, and all that knowledge, all that experience has now translated to Seattle. And I think Seattle has a good QB for the next couple of years that they can rely on. I don't think he's going to be a bridge. I think this is their guy for moving forward. Now, I disagree, because I think there's another team that should 1,000% be the team to come out of the NFC West as the champs, and it's the Los Angeles Rams. This team, their only loss is to the defending champs, and let me tell you, when I tell you they barely lost that game, they barely lost that game. If it had not been for a blocked field goal that they did twice, by the way, they're 4-0 right now. They just defeated the Indianapolis Colts. Look, you could kind of like chalk that up as, the Indianapolis Colts kind of beat themselves, right?
Adonai Mitchell was the best player on the Rams team.
I would, definitely. What I will say is that if you're competing with the reigning defending champs, I still think that you're the class of the NFC West. A couple things to back this up. They're 4th in total offense. They're 3rd in passing offense. They're 3rd in yards per play. This is an offense that's still humming very well. And it's mostly because of Puka Nacua, who I'm putting my ballot right now. I predicted at the beginning of the year he'd be the offensive player of the year. I think he should be a contender for MVP as well. This man has been insane. This man there's no reason right now why he shouldn't be the best receiver in football in everybody's mind. This man has done it all, right? And he's faced really good defenses. It's not like he's faced bums. He's faced the Texans defense, balled out there. He faced the Eagles defense, balled out there. Indianapolis defense has been impressive to start the year. He balled out there. And I'm tired of not seeing production from the 2 quote-unquote best receivers in the league, and then seeing it from Puka and then denying it just because it's Puka. Puka Nacua right now is the best receiver in football. Even on top of that, look, they have a top 10 defense across the board. This Rams team, I'm still stamping it in. I still think they can win the Super Bowl. They're just starting to get humming. Obviously, you want something outside of Puka Nacua to come from the offense, maybe to get the run game a bit going. They're 13th in that aspect, so they're not bad, but they could be better. But I just think Matthew Stafford is different. Puka Nacua is different. Sean McVay overall is just on a league of his own in terms of head coaching in this division. I know the Eagles are the favorite, and they should be. I think a lot of people think the Eagles are the best team in the league, and more power to you. I still like the Rams to make it out of the NFC, man. That's how high I think of them.
Hey, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, I'm just a big believer in Seattle. Can we acknowledge the fact that Seattle is just basically taking, cast off Jets quarterbacks and turning them into great quarterbacks? It's just amazing for me here. Like it's incredible. They're going to somehow, I think Sam Darnold's going to play like 2 or 3 more years. They're going to somehow get Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's going to lead them to a playoff berth, and he's going to do that for 3 or 4 years. And the next Jets quarterback that comes in and drafts and is a bust there is going to go to Seattle, and he's going to lead them to playoffs. And it's just going to be continuously cycling through Jets cast off quarterbacks, because that's how I think this works.
Poor Jets. Sorry about that loss last night, by the way.
Jets rough. But yeah, I mean, there's really not a bad choice between Seattle or the Rams. I think the Rams have had a little bit better competition. They had to go up against, to your point, the loss to the Eagles. They were in that game. I think they've had tougher competition. I have no argue with that. I'm big on Seattle right now. I think that they're playing really good football, and I think they're going to be a tough team. I think that out of this division, those 2 teams both make the playoffs this year. It's just going to come down to who wins the division. And honestly, you could flip a coin, and I'd agree with whatever result there was.
This has been Between the Uprights. Football is life. The rest is just details.